Hi everyone, Nubkeks here and welcome to my tier list for the Heroes of the Storm 2.0 patch, the Genji patch, the biggest patch that ever happened to the game, the loot patch, all that sort of stuff. As we dive into this, one thing to note right as we start, okay, is that this is my tier list for Hero League and for people that are like very serious about the competitive side of Hero League. So while this, let's say you're playing quick match or you're playing, more casually, or you're in a lower league in Hero League, let's say you're in Silver 5, for instance, just hypothetically. This tier list isn't like a strict rule for those at all. It will be a rough guide. It'll be a rough insight into what heroes are good, but it's not, don't take it as gospel if you're not playing at like a very high level. But yeah, like if you're trying to push like higher and higher and higher and you want to like reach, Diamond and Master and Grandmaster, then it should be good for that. Also, we are using Heroes Hearth, so there should be a link in the description. You can check out the tier list down there. I also have builds for every single hero. You can also find links to those through my Twitch by inputting commands into the Twitch. So yeah, there's loads of ways that you can find this and keep up to date with it being constantly updated. I'll have, again, a guide in the description below. But yes, we are using Heroes Hearth's new website, and let's dive right into it. That's enough of an intro. Okay, so this patch, I was calling it the Heroes of the Storm 2.0 patch and everything, and the Genji patch, but in a lot of ways, this patch is sort of like the death of the shielding meta. But yay, and a very sarcastic kind of yay, the birth of the double healer meta. So yes, you're not going to have to worry as much about like Tassadar or Zarya and all those frickin' shields as you did before. Instead, we've got this glorious double healer thing with like Oriels and Uthers and yes, even Lilies. So yeah, we'll watch it for that. Anyway, diving into tier 1, we are, by the way, going for a tier 1 to 5 system now, which is what I'm going to use just to make things a bit more clear, especially seeing as we're doing all roles kind of in one go. So yeah, I mean, in terms of warriors that I have in tier 1 anyway, I've got Nubkeks and Arthas. And Sonya as well. So I think it needs to say these are very, very powerful. Nubkeks, very good against mages and just extremely strong right now. Is crowd control, 2 great heroics, everything like that. Arthas, great against physical damage dealers, melee assassins, kind of locks those down. Sonya, absolute beast in the solo lane, can beat most of those. I think she's actually still pretty underrated, actually. One big surprise, one big change is Oriel jumping way up to the top. This actually took me by surprise. Didn't expect it from the patch notes. But yeah, I've played against her a few times in Hero League already. Her win rate is shot up. She's very scary. Oriel is very scary right now. She synergizes really well with a lot of other heroes. And again, you'll see this. This is part of why Gul'dan, Lunara, Nazeebo, Greymane, a lot of the Probius as well, even. A lot of the big damage dealers right now synergize incredibly well with Oriel. Her damage has gone way up. It's actually quite strong. The amount of healing she provides is great. It feels like there isn't too much punishment for the lack of cleanse. Yeah, Oriel is just, she's crazy strong, and that took me by surprise. That's not something I realized reading the patch notes, but playing Hero League, I'm like, yep, no, Oriel, I count her as the #1 support right now. In terms of damage dealers, like I already said, Greymane, Gul'dan, Lunara, Nazeebo, Probius. A good chunk of this has to do with, again, you'll see wave clear is a big feature of these. Greymane, Probius, they all have very good wave clear. Not so much Nazeebo, but the rest all have very good wave clear. Lunara scales up better, and Nazeebo late game. The other 3 are pretty good at the start. Very strong wave clear. They do a lot of damage. They all synergize as well, very well with Oriel. Greymane, for example, is very good counter to a Nubkeks with the physical damage. The spell damage guys are pretty damn good against Arthas. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff kind of going on there with the best heroes sort of in the game right now. Then we got Zeratul, melee assassin. Again, extremely difficult to play, but when you do get a really good player, and it has to be emphatically a really good player on the Zeratul, they can have an absolutely huge impact on the game and absolutely carry team fights. Hopping down to tier 2, these are the heroes that you're going to be fighting over quite often. Typically, you're going to be directing more of the bans at tier 1, but tier 2 still legitimate for bans, especially dependent on maps if a particular map does suit. But yeah, diving into this, I mean, we've got Artanis. I think Artanis is actually in a pretty good spot at the moment. The changes to the meta, he's actually come back up a little bit, I think. Dehaka, warrior with a global, great solo laner. Diablo, again, with some of the changes to some of the other warriors as well, I feel like Diablo's kind of come come back up a bit. I think Diablo's still up there quite strong. Definitely a good tank option on maps like Tomb of Spider Queen or Dragonshire when, you know, Arthas or Nubkeks are banned or taken away. Falstad, again, solo laner, global, ranged, pretty damn useful. Illidan, Jaina, Kel'Thuz. I don't think there's too much to say here, like fairly straightforward. Illidan is obviously going to work pretty well in the double support meta because of the, you know, the sustained damage and his stickiness will be very effective there. Jaina and Kel'Thuz both bring a lot of burst. So they're both very, very strong. In terms of supports, we'll hop over those real quick. I've got Kharazim, Lucio, and Uther up here in tier. Oh, and Rhaegar, of course, and Malf. So we got a few supports up here in tier 1, in tier 2. Excuse me. Like I said, I think Oriel does stand out as the best, but these ones are really good as well. I will say Lucio has definitely fallen down for me as I rate him as one of the lower tier 2 supports now, whereas I still think the perception is that he's very, very good. I think the nerfs that they did toning him down and then just the shifts in the meta have made him less dominant than he was before. Like, I would generally myself lean a bit more towards like the Rhaegar or Kharazim instead. Now, Uther is definitely coming back into the meta in a big way. The Uther rework I think is really good. I think Uther will fit extremely well into like a double support solo tank type meta, which we could definitely be moving into because he is that sort of tankier frontline. He synergizes very well with other supports, especially at level 16. He can give them bonus healing. He brings armor, he brings protection from burst to synergize with more sustain type healers. So yeah, I'm not sure which ones he's going to be the best with yet, but I mean, like Uther Lily could potentially be a really scary combo. Uther Oriel could be a very scary combo where you're just like, this team will not die. Uther Lucio would work really well. Lucio sustained healing, Uther spot burst healing, prevents, you know, pickoffs and brings crowd control and a tankier frontline. All that sort of stuff could work really, really nicely. So yeah, and Malf is still kind of the same spot he's always been. I mean, Leoric, another great solo laner at the moment. Great against tankier teams. Muradin, I think, is in a good solid spot at the moment. Again, it's like that ETC change really shifted the tank meta. Plus, you know, the Nubkeks and Arthas buffs. But yeah, Muradin, he's a solid overall tank. Reliable, but not. He doesn't shine as much, I would say, as the other ones that kind of have very strong map strengths or very strong counter pick strengths. So that's what kind of Muradin kind of lacks. Stitch is actually in a great spot at the moment as well. The Stitches buffs, again, small little buffs to Stitches, didn't seem like they do too much, but I think they've actually helped him out a lot. And I think like Stitches is actually a very, very legitimate warrior pick right now. So definitely watch out for Stitches. He does a very surprising amount of hero damage. And then Varian, again, Varian I think is a good solid like anti-mage, anti-burst type warrior at the moment, ironically, with the new like parry build that you go for. He's very good at sustaining through that and being like this almost unkillable kind of just block at the front line. So again, he can be very effective, especially once again when the sort of the tier 1 warriors are taken away. Finally, we got some specialists, you know, Lost Vikings Hammer and Sylvanas, Tracers up here as well, and Vala. So, you know, fairly standard. They've always been good, solid damage dealers, so they are still up there. Hopping down to tier 3, these are kind of like the average ones. Oh, by the way, I've got like Tina Turner themed tier descriptions. Tier 3, so some surprises here, and then some not so surprising. I think, you know, Ragnaros, the nerfs to Ragnaros, I think he's really fallen off a lot. He loses a lot of the solo lanes. He's definitely nowhere near as strong as he was before. All the little nerfs have added up, and he's down here in tier 3 for me. Zarya as well. This is another big change. Again, all those little nerfs and tweaks to Zarya. I feel like she's fallen off quite a lot too. I mean, tier 3 aren't bad heroes. They're average heroes. They're good, but you're not like rushing out of the door to ban or to first pick these by any means. Lily moved up quite a lot, and Lily actually be one of the stronger heroes in tier 3, I think. Again, just all these small little changes to Lily didn't look like they do too much, but they actually have a huge impact. You want to be running Lily as a second support. Basically, you go into like blind. You want to make your blinds do more damage, and your lightning serpent, your cloud serpenty thing, your W do more damage, and that's what Lily does. Stick her in a double support comp for a bit of extra healing. And she does loads of sustained damage, plus, you know, blinds and all of that sort of stuff. And yeah, I never thought I'd say it, but yeah, she's actually doing really well right now. In terms of any other surprises here in tier 3, I don't think so. Actually, hold on. I need to move. Valeera should move down because Valeera got nerfed. I'd actually put Valeera into tier 4. That's a mistake. So let me edit my list. Let's do that. Let's keep this up to date. So I'd actually move Valeera down. She got nerfed. So there we go. Cool. All right, well, we can just go through it here, seeing as we're right at the end anyway. But tier 4 and tier 5. So tier 5 are the heroes you pretty much never want to pick. We've got Murky, Nova, and Samuro. They've all been like nerfed down a lot. I just feel like these ones are really underwhelming, and there's a lot of better options. And they get countered a lot by the popular stuff. Like Samuro, he just gets hard countered by like Arthas and by, you know, Kael'thas and so many things. You know, Gul'dan, like... there's just Sonya. There's so many heroes that are so strong that are great against him. He's just very underwhelming for me. Murky, again, the little nerfs to him. He's just very clunky to fit into a team, and he's so late game, it's definitely an issue. Then Nova, there's just, again, much, much better range damage dealers. Tier 4, these are the ones that are a bit weaker. You kind of want a very good reason to pick them, but like you could potentially run them if it's like that very, you know, fairly rare situation where they do fit kind of perfectly. So Cho'Gall is here, for example. They get countered extremely hard and easily in the draft. Tychus, Leoric, very easy to hard counter them. They're very much a late game hero. Your early game, your rotations are very much gimped because you've got 2 heroes in 1. But sometimes they will work out. Chen, sort of similarly enough as well. If you pick him into a solo lane that he wins, he can be very good. Or where his dive is going to be effective, but he doesn't really fit the meta at the moment very well at all. Brightwing, again, there's just a lot of better healers, unfortunately. And I think even with the double support meta, I think you'd really much prefer to have, you know, Lusto, Uther, Oriel, Lily, someone else instead of the Brightwing. The global presence just not being that useful, unfortunately. ETC is still down here in tier 4. I think he needs a few more little buffs to get him back up to being a little bit stronger, but I could definitely see him maybe moving up to tier 3 in the near future. Rexxar, another hero much like Chen. He's like solo lane. You want to pick him into a lane that he's going to win, and then he can be good, but unless like you're picking him into a winning lane that's already been selected, it's just not that strong. Tassadar is probably one of the biggest surprises down here. Tassadar, yeah, I just feel like the successive nerfs have hit him really hard, and I think they went a little bit overboard. He can still be good with like a Vala on Dragonshire or something like that, with like a 4-man like rotation between a couple of lanes, utilizing his wave clear and his shields, but he's a lot more difficult to play now. Yeah, it's just they've just toned him down a lot, that he's much more difficult to play, and honestly I think you're better just running a healer, another healer, than you are running a shielder. That's just kind of the sad truth of it. Valeera, like I said, being nerfed down. Zul'jin, I feel, especially with the Tassadar nerfs, this is rather clunky. Zagara, Raynor, again, rather clunky damage dealers. And yeah, again, Zagara again, with sort of the Chen and Chen Rexxar. It's just a scenario where she's a kind of wonky solo laner that you can pick into a winning lane, but not else otherwise. Then we got Genji. I put Genji in a tier 4. I'm not super sure where Genji will end up, but at the moment for me, he does seem kind of tier 4. He seems very difficult to play. You're picking like a ranged assassin with really doesn't do the things ranged assassins normally do, which is provide good wave clear, and yeah, kind of consistent range damage, like good poke and stuff like that. He's got very weak poke, light harass. He's extremely mobile, hard to lock down and kill. And then like his level 10 is explosive and extremely impactful. But again, I'm not sure how he fits into the meta and stuff like that. I think until that's worked out, until people kind of master Genji, he's really not a hero you need to worry about. Unless you see him on your team, then you kind of go, uh-oh. Maybe 1 in 10, 2 in 10 chance that this Genji's like actually really good. More than likely, this player isn't going to be that great on Genji for another while. Until Blizzard maybe tweaks a couple of little balance things and people kind of learn how Genji actually works. So until then, I think that Genji, in terms of Hero League, is going to be kind of a tier 4. Don't expect him having a big impact. Cassia, by the way, is still, I think, in tier 3. Solid hero, good overall, but nothing you're going to be rushing out to pick up all the time. And guys, there you go. That is the tier list. Again, scroll through it real quick. We got this one done in like, yes, just about 15 minutes this time. I was trying to do it quicker. And certainly, maybe let me know what you think of this new structure. Did you find it more helpful, less helpful? There was just a whole bunch of bugs. We were trying to improve the old tier list app I was using, and the improvements just led to a bunch of bugs and stuff like that. And so we're trying to sort that out. But for the moment, we're going to use Heroes Hearth for just, well, this month anyway. So do let me know what you think. Or if you prefer the old system, break it down more by roles or what have you. But yeah, that's how this one is looking. I think it's an interesting meta. We'll see how it goes. But yeah, I think double healer is the big thing about this one. So watch out and have some fun, and welcome everyone who's new to Heroes.
New follower detected.
New follower detected. Isn't that lovely? Well, with that, I'm going to leave you guys. Give it a thumbs up if you enjoyed, and do let me know what you think in the comments down below. And I will see you all next time for some more Heroes of the Storm. Bye bye.